I have not been writing long, not long at all. Maybe month and a half. It's just, I'm not even, it's just writing. Well,
Please welcome Ethel Lee Miller.
Well, I know Southern comfort. I think it's okay. I've written a memoir, which means I wrote down a lot of my memories, and then because it's a memoir, I get to go back and think about them. And that's why I love writing about memoir. It's not only what you remember, but how you remember it. In my case, as a child and as a twin, and also as an adult. So we call it memoir and musing, thinking about those memories. I have 3 excerpts that I want to share with you that show memoir and musing. So come with me to Miller Place. One summer, a stray black cat hung around the house. "Get out of here, get," my grandfather shouted, flapping his arms up and down. "Oh, Dad," my mother said, "it's just a kitten, leave it." Grandpa knew what was important to him. It'll kill the birds. It did. But instead of the cat getting chased away from our house, a saucer of milk appeared by the stoop outside our porch, a silent rebuttal to Grandpa by my mother. So we had a summer cat. Summer cat was an outside cat. She was black with random white spots and white whiskers. She brought animal offerings to the bottom step of the house in homage to her benefactor, my mother. A small mole one morning, a little wren another day. Mom whisked away the birds, but proclaimed loudly over the moles to my grandfather, "See, Dad, cats are useful." How interesting. I saw Mom put a saucer of milk out on the brick walk by our stoop. Then she sat down on the step and called in a low voice, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty." In a minute, the little black cat slid out from the woods. Then, the rough edges that always seemed to be around my mother smoothed away. It was like she was a sleepwalker. Mom extended her hand just a little bit at a time, fingers moving together like she was rubbing a piece of silk. The cat tiptoed over and rubbed his head around her hand. Mom kind of hummed as her fingers scratched Summer Cat. And she moved her hand away in slow motion and touched the saucer, and Summer Cat went and got her milk. Mom never had conversations with the cat, like I heard Mr. Cooney have with his dog. "How you doing, boy? How's my boy?" No, Mom just sat, keeping her eyes only on Summer Cat until it finished drinking, moved away, and began to wash its face with one white paw. Then it was like Mom moved out of her dream and stood up with a burst of energy. This made Summer Cat run off into the woods, and Mom went into the house. There were times in my childhood when my mother got very impatient with me for wasting time, or I'd see that uncomfortable pacing when she had money worries. I wanted to say, "Go into your Summer Cat dream. You'll feel better." But I never did. The next part is a selection that's just a foundation for pure musing, because I had this memory and then I realized how it influenced me in my later life. This is describing the people who lived on our dirt road in the summertime. There were very few houses, just a few kids. Some days, when we were almost at Poison Ivy Lane on our way to the beach, we would hear a screaming noise like a car horn that got stuck. All us kids would kind of smirk and go, "Oh, that's Eddie." The Bobsons' house was the last one on the dirt road, and Eddie, their only child, was different, actually weird. He stayed by himself, didn't talk right, and was prime teasing material by younger but more clever children. Our mother's warnings to leave Eddie alone were open to interpretation. It could mean, be Christian and be nice to him, Or it could mean actually leave him all alone, isolate him. And with no direct explanation, we tested our weak sense of power by teasing someone with even less power. And then running away on our strong, tanned legs as he loped after us on strangely uncoordinated pale ones. We did not play with Eddie, and we pretended to be an exaggerated copy of him by deliberately slurring our words. The pretend to be Eddie was usually only short, crude imitations, but ones that were cruel even in their brevity. Eddie took over an abandoned car in the field to play in. He grew very big and tall as we all aged, but his mind and his speech stayed at the level it was when we were really young. He also stayed alone. I was intrigued by Eddie and wanted to go talk with him, but like going back into the field by myself, I wasn't brave enough, and I certainly wasn't going to break the family rules. I left him alone. A dozen years later, when I began teaching young children, I saw Eddies almost every year in my classroom. Eddie was the child that no one wanted on their team, the one who was too gangly, too sloppily dressed, not smart enough, the one who got caught when everybody else ran away from a prank. I think I tried to make amends by being kinder to that child, maybe even favoring him. I'm sorry, Eddie.